Ladies and gentlemen, if you can hear me, clap once. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can still hear me, clap twice. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in giving a thunderous applause to our next session presenter. This section is called Euroburners. And I'm sad to announce that Dave Bradshaw, as many of you have probably noticed, was not able to join us for the symposium. He's been ill. But we've got our other two fabulous guests, and we can now more appropriately name this section the Nordics and the Borderland. I would really appreciate it if you guys could give these presenters and me the same attention you've given others. Let's have good grace as we follow through this second day. I noticed a lot of great manners and generous listening yesterday, so let's try to keep that spirit of conviviality and camaraderie up throughout today. I do want to, while I have the floor, share with you that my team, the Global Network team, which runs out of Burning Man projects, thank you. My team, the Global Network team, has been really focusing on how we distribute learning across the global network. And one of the newer ways in which we've been doing that is by hosting what we call GLC, Global Leadership Conference, has been our flagship conference. We're now moving towards a more distributed model where we're seeing more regional groups self-organize, and we're trying to support that. But what we've been doing is hosting quarterly calls with our regional contacts from across the world. We've also been doing GLCX trainings on everything from technology to facilitation skills to dealing with consent issues. We've now started a new series called Critical Conversations that are designed to be a safe space within which we explore hot topics that bubble up on social media and in our Regionals List discussion forum. All of the presentations I've seen, I think would be excellent main stage content for one of our remote trainings. So this is an invitation and an ask of the presenters. If you're interested in offering up this learning through an online environment, we usually structure them to be 90 minutes to 2 hours in length. We'd love to have you present with a little bit of introduction and then use each one of these presentations one at a time as a springboard to more dialogue. And that would be participation from the regional contacts, also event leaders and other folks that we could invite from across Burning Man's network and network of friends. So that's an ask of you. If you're interested in doing that, let me know, let Graham know, and he and I can also coordinate. But I would love to see some of these findings and beautiful and elegant papers presented to a wider audience. So without further ado, I would love to bring up our first presenter, Mathias Gullbrandson. I've been practicing my Swedish pronunciation. Mathias is a rock star. I think he has the best haircut in show business. And he wore a very special purple jacket for you all today. He also loves co-creation and participatory cultures. He's grown up with role-playing games and co-created in 2002 his first Burn-alike event, Futuredrome. In 2010, Mathias took the initiative to the Borderland that has become a Scandinavian regional burn with 2,500 co-creators currently, and most recently in 2018. He's an entrepreneur with extensive experience from service design, game development, and film production. Worth mentioning too is the award-winning computer game Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, Storylab, and Dreamler, a digital platform to organize and run management initiatives built as a multiple player game. Ladies and gentlemen, Mathias.
I actually will start to do a kind of survey here.
we need to set the space. You know, here is my. Do you think this is enough power, or do we like to turn off the lights?
Yes, please.
Here in the front? Like, is that better?
Thank you.
Okay. Right, then I go back here and then I start this one and say, I will give a short story about where Portland comes from, what we are today, and where we are going. I will spend like 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, but I really want to start to tell a short story about myself. I'm born and raised in a hippie family outside Gothenburg with Russian cars and, yeah, you know, a vegetarian kind of green movement family. So it was pretty close for me to actually become an environmental activist when I was young. So I started to demonstrate and try to stop pollution, try to stop the climate change, say no to building highways and so on. And we said no and no and no until I was sick of saying no. Because I really want to say yes. I wanted to actually create these worlds that I could imagine, that I wanted to live in. So I become a live-action role-playing gamer, where we started to build our own worlds in the forest, in the cities. I've been, of course, a warrior. I've been a transvestite in Stockholm for 1 month. I've been the devil, the Satan's devil in Moscow. And I love this. I love to play. I love to say yes to my imaginations and try to do it in the real world. Okay, who am I? I have film and script writing background, and then I did a master in cultural and creative leadership in UK. I've been thinking of doing a doctorate or a PhD, haven't done it yet. And then I'm here because I took the initiative to the Borderland Festival. Actually, this is an image from where me and my friends were hired this autumn by a company owned by another burner, Guy de Liberté.
Guy La Liberté.
Yeah, to actually stage a new story, not his, but a kind of secret society in New York. Why do I tell this about gaming and LARPing? This is a dear friend of mine, Henrik Wallgren. He's famous from sailing through the desert on a wig wagon to Burning Man. I think that was 2015. But 15 years earlier, 2000, he told me about this event, this party in the desert called Burning Man. And I was, yeah, wow, we really want to do a Burning Man-like thing in Sweden. But we were not sure. Should people understand the concept? So we said that, okay, but let's try to create a burner-like LARP. Try to game or do a remix on our based on our imaginations of what Burning Man was at that time. So 2002, we produced or had this event called Future Drone. And we didn't know about Larry Harvey. So we thought it was a queen that was ruling this party in the desert. And she had party people. And then we imagined that, I mean, if people have gone to the desert for a long time, just partying, some of them maybe have started to go back in evolution and become animals again. So we had party animals. Of course, we had clown police, because if you have a boring time, you should be caught and forced into become a party guy, and so on. So we created this world, and we built a scenography in a limestone stone quarry, and actually had our, what I know, the first Burn Alive event at 2002. But this was a really big production for us, and we were so tired after. So it took a number of years before we had enough energy to actually plan the next event. At this time we really said, oh God, but now we are going to do it the right way, and even bigger. So we made a lot of plans. We imagined that it will come thousands of people. We had a really nice area close to the ocean, and made great plans. But we didn't get any funding. The funds that we were used to go to, funding like movies, theater, they didn't understand participation at all. So we said, we took a decision, let's do it anyway. So we started 12 people on the beach, and then the year after we were 50 co-creators, and 2011 we got out the first and only public grant, art grant, for doing Borderland. So we got 10,000 euros. We spent 10,000 euros on producing the first Dreams website. Have you heard of the Dreams website? It's a kind of Kickstarter where we distribute all the art grant funds to participants through. So we spent 1,000 euros on producing that site, and then 8,000 on grants, and 1,000 on porta potties. And then we have step by step grown from, and this last year we were 2,500 participants. I mean, I think Borderland is in this community known of, we want to move away from organization, away from management. But actually we're, this is a secret, but we had our first legal entity 1 year before we were 12 people on a beach. So in some ways we are super organized. But we love distributed decision making. So really try to not take decisions in the board, but let people take the decisions that actually have the knowledge and have the engagement. We love digital platforms, online platforms, because that's the way to actually coordinate people and to cut off overhead, administration, management costs, to do it digitally. Something between 60 to 80% of our budget is for our Dream Grant Fund. So last year, I think we spent like
1.2 million Swedish, 120,000 euros.
120,000 euros on Dream Grants, and that was about 60% of the budget, I think. Yeah. Because, I mean, that's what we like to do. Dreams, arts. We are not selling tickets. We're selling memberships, and that's important for us. We call everybody coming as for co-creators. Everybody buy memberships. We don't, in that aspect, we don't give memberships to volunteers. We don't have volunteers. Not the word. We're not using the word volunteers. Even the board members are buying memberships. And we say no to media. We only say yes to local media. And I mean very, very local media, to get connections with local authorities, to the local people. But we say no to TV, because we want to grow the culture before we grow the numbers. And we like the word to be spread mouth by mouth. And of course, we collaborate with local authorities. We have clown polices instead of security, of course, and we have some role-playing aspects. We have rabbits and beavers, and yeah, I mean, and this is the people. Here is the art or the experience. Yeah. Many people in the our community take initiatives to smaller events through the year, and that have been on since many years. I don't know how many smaller events that is produced every year. We had the Urban Burn in Stockholm that might be the biggest after Borderland. They are burning dinners, and there is other places all over, yeah, Scandinavia, and especially Sweden and Denmark. And when we ask our community if they see Borderland as being a one-week holiday or something bigger, as a prototype of practice that you want to bring into the rest of your life, people answer yes, this is a part of something bigger, a bigger dream of how I would like to live. And that have over the last years moved into that people start to take new initiatives to actually rent permanent spaces and also buy properties, land. We have also actually a new fund called Fund 51 for the other 51 weeks a year to actually get some small funding from the Borderland Association. So there is a number of community spaces. Here is Blivande. Höje is one of the one of the founders. Illutron in Copenhagen. We have another place in Stockholm called the Castle. And there is a part of the community that want to build housing outside Stockholm called the Borderland Neighborhood. And some other people want to buy land for a farm outside Stockholm. And there is similar initiatives in Denmark and southern Sweden as well. There is also a number of new software initiatives. I think you will touch upon the realities. That's a new platform to organize people. There is another initiative that actually was a part of the early dreams of Borderland back in 2010 to create a kind of game-like platform to help people to do their dreams. But it was too complex to both produce events and software in the same organization. And another art initiative is to actually take the Dreams platform into ordinary life, I would say, but for the other 51 weeks to promote transformational experiences happening outside Stockholm, outside Borderland. So when I did my studies in Portsmouth University in leadership, I was told that there is two different ways of lead. One is a transformational kind of leadership, and there is a kind of transactional leadership. And I think when we move from just being 1 week a year into 52 weeks a year, we need also to embrace the transactional part. We need to embrace ownership, economy. So we have studied how is other intentional communities dealing with these issues. How can we actually how can we gift? How can we marriage gifting, decommodification with monetization? I mean, is it possible to combine? I mean, you touched upon it yesterday, Francois. Is it possible to create a transformational economy to get outcome for living? Of course, we're thinking of organization, governance, management, and then ownership, equity, also become an issue. Who will own the property? How is a good way of owning? Should we create a foundation, or should we co-own it in some way? Because as artists, we are often invited to raise values on buildings and facilities, and then we never get the share of that increased value, and we end up poor and happy. I definitely think that this area is something where I at least would like to continue this kind of discussion and see how can we deal with this going forward. That was my
All right.
minutes.
Right. Awesome. Thank you.